Hello there. This is the turn where it begins. If you were bored of all the previous turns or you just wanted to skip them, this is the turn to start watching, I want to say. So, this turn we get invaded by Flagra, so we get attacked 4 times. And additionally, there's a number of other attacks. I guess other wars are starting to spin up a little bit harder. So we have Man and Utgard continuing to fight. And Arco moves in on Raga, and then Raga and Pan have a big battle in one of these. Forget which one. So tons and tons of action this turn. So this might be a little bit longer. We do cast 2 respects and find nothing. And first up, we have Flagra raiding Ragdan. So all of the Flagra attacks are going to be thugs or super combatants. So let's go ahead and check out this one. We have an Elder Cyclops with a Race Sword, Dragon Helmet, Fireplate, Stone Bird, and Ring of the Warrior. So maybe traded for the blood item, but pretty decent attack now. Okay, like a knight level of protection and okay defense. What's that? That's 20, 30 gems worth of gear on a 240 gold mage with 63 HP. Excuse me. So it can definitely clear PD, but I think I've got plans to kill a lot of these guys. We'll see. Pretty good buff script. So we have Mistform, we have tons of fire resist, we have a Shock Malice, so we can potentially kill this with air elementals. And that's from doing Iron Skin to get the protection up to 29, which is much better, and Temper Flesh to effectively double the number of hit points for mundane attacks. So, just gonna kill this PD. I don't think we need to watch that, but kind of interesting. I do want to show off the different thugs, so you can see what we're going up against. Arco and Raga have a fight in the Last Step Swamp. So this is the Mother of Monsters coming to Vulture, so killing some PD. And some sages ran away, I guess. Additionally, Raga and Pan. So Raga attacks Pan in Eliodor, or Elidor. So we have a big Pan army here. This might be... Oh, LA Pan has Astral on everything. So I don't think it's for Magic Duel, but I could be wrong. This might just be a gym bait, is my guess. You can force out a lot of the Pan buff cycle. Try to get lucky and jump on some mages too. Ouch. Oh my goodness. Alright. Yeah, I'm not sure if that pulled gems actually. It didn't seem like it, but maybe I missed it. And then in Sylvania, Raga and Pan have a battle. So we have the Ragan Heavy Cavalry with a little bit of leadership killing some PD. Then Man and Utgard have a potential fight. A little bit of PD on PD. Or this small raiding group, we've seen it previously, just killing more PD. That's what I mean to say. With a Fire 3 Wizard. There, this is I think the Incinerate spam is going to do it. Combustion, sure. Alright, that should be it. And then, let's see. Then Arco and Raga. Arco attacks Raga again in Illadar. We have some Hoplites. The True Mystics. Orphic Mystic. Give some Death Access. They have the Crystal Paths, so they can pretty easily put these on Communions if they happen to not have a Sybil around. Particularly a Death Random Sybil, because all the Sybils have nature. These Turin infantry are not particularly tough, so they're just gonna die in droves. We've got Unblessed Heart Companions, Formation Fighter 4, Berserker 2. Interesting. Alright. And then next up in Snowford. Wait, did I look at Umami? Oh, maybe I didn't. We've got a couple of flagrant guys. So we've got a little mage, probably for point buffing, with an earth gem for Marble Warriors? Maybe. This is our Champion's Trident from the arena. Stone Bird, Burning Pearl, extraordinary agility, so just phenomenal stats on this guy. It's for 43. And then we've got this guy up here with a great sword, fire helmet, fire plate, all the fire resist. Yeah, Iron Warriors. So they're going to go ahead and buff themselves. They've got that shock vulnerability. So again, if I can pull together enough air randoms for a communion, I can hit them with air elementals, and that'll probably kill them. Even though they have magic weapons. But they're definitely going to kill these mundane troops. Alright. In Snowford, we have Enceladus. Full kit, riding around on his flying carpet to give him 20 map move. How many attacks? Is it just the one snake leg? Yeah, 2 snake leg attacks. Mangasha Parrying, Lightning Spear, so a couple of nice attacks. And Snake Tresses with 5 attacks. There we go, the snake hair. With a weak poison and a strong poison on the legs. 98 HP. Piles of protection. Crown of Lead for a little bit more MR. So 18 MR on this guy. Makes him a little bit harder to soul slay potentially if he runs into one of those traps. And he's also got regen and a couple of death gems. Let's see that buff cycle. Temper Flesh, Fire Shield, Summon Earth Power, Legions of Steel, and fly us in. Alright. Now, I should be careful with how I attempt to counter some of these guys, because who knows, they could have scouts carrying alternate sets of gear, and they could just be swapping the gear in and out. That's something they could do. I'm not going to play around that until it happens, though. That's for sure. That's just way too much thinking. We've got Thune, the Cyclops Smith, with a full kit, just with the underwater breathing, a little bit of fatigue help because he's underwater, some protection, so fairly low defense here. Not great attack skill either, just like 9 levels of protection, and happens to find his way into a province with some Triton militia, because this is my fort PD. So this is 11 PD here. I think we're gonna see one of the unfortunate parts of underwater combat, which is the ridiculous penalties you get for fighting underwater. So he's got a big harass penalty. He's got an underwater penalty of 3. So even though he's got some water magic and he did water shield, it's still pretty bad. And then the combat speed gets halved, which is a huge penalty that I found out about in my Charlama game as Vanheim. So he's already fatigued out. So he's way too high of a fatigue for like being a heavy thug or borderline SC. He's got 30 protection, but all of his stats are garbage. So he's kind of found himself in the Golem territory, except he's got this protective shield blocking half the enemy attacks. And he's got Temper Flush up. So, but he's already been hit. He's already been smacked with poison. And he's just missing the train. He kills some of them. I mean, their defense skill was not great. But we can see the poison. Weak poison, 13 points of poison damage, 4 points of poison. Just obliterated a Triton soldier. 9 points of poison. And a couple more points. So yeah, definitely taking tons of attacks. You can see the log here. And a lot of poison. He's down to 4 HP. He's got a lot more in poison. He's also got, he's been afflicted, so unfortunately for this guy, not quite the right kit for taking him underwater. But so somehow this fort doesn't get locked down. I'm a fan, so I'm gonna do a lot of raiding from it this upcoming turn, and we'll see how that goes. Additionally, Pangea is attacking Independence. So this is the province south of Joman's fort that got locked down by the Krakens. Just that same old Pangean Thug kit, except now it's for underwater, so there's an additional piece for that. Really similar to the attempt on the underwater throne. They can kind of self-buff, because they've got decent paths for that. And they're in the same square, so some of these buffs can apply to the whole square. So they're up to 28 protection, reasonably high defense, still have decent combat speed. The only thing bad is they have low attack score, but they both have frost brands to get the AoE damage. So this is a really solid kit for going underwater. Yep. And then Pan goes after Elidor from Raga. Alright, so this is the premier showcase of the turn. I know we're getting invaded by Flagra, and there's other Diplo updates, but this is going to be a doozy. Now, you remember previously, when Bogarus attacked, I don't know what I'm doing, did a big Wrathful Skies play, and deleted the Bogarus army. Well, there's a similar number of mages, I want to say this time, but there's more Iceclad Zaedans, with this bless, including the 25 shock resist, to help protect themselves from Wrathful Skies and to hold the line. Additionally, some of these Astral Mages are forward deployed with the Air 3s to protect a little bit from Mind Duel. Or Magic Duel, not Mind Duel. At least I want to say that's how they're arrayed. And then we have a number of centaurs and a few pans. Looks like, yeah, I don't think they got gem burnt. So they should be able to get off their buff cycle. Let's go ahead and start it up. We'll slow down a little bit for this one. Yep, we have some magic tools going off. Let's go ahead and see how those went. One Raga Mage dead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Pans dead. Or Centaur Sages dead. And 3 more Raga Mages. So, was that 6 to 4? In favor of Raga. Alright. Pan has more mages, though. His lightning strike's coming in fierce. We'll watch it on the other side of the wall next. This is a pretty cool battle. So many sacreds involved. Like all these dryad hoplites. Tons of mages. I think one of the pans just got deleted. Not the one with gems. Oh, the one with nature gems just got deleted. Alright, area general. But natural storm too, to help with all the crossbow fire coming in. So most of that's probably missing. Speed it up a little bit now. See a lot of troops routing, a lot of mages getting killed. So they're throwing up regen, temper flesh, some fire resist, stone skin, or the equivalent of. So they've got decent protection, but nothing to protect against lightning, which is possible in the Earth Tree, but probably not at this point in the game. There might be a ward type of spell. I don't think I've ever cast it, and I rarely see it cast. I see a bunch of the Dryad Hoplites dying, and here comes the Great Titan. I don't know what I'm doing. Kind of looks like she's hugging each of the sages. Alright. So let's go ahead and watch that one again. Alright. Slow it down a little bit at first. Not a whole lot in the gate, so I'm not going to pay much attention to the gate. You see the magic tools come in. Pretty cool. Acid bolt. So some of the centaurs are coming up. What's happening is they're slowly streaming in, and so they're hitting the small line of infantry, and they're getting killed by lightning strikes and shockwaves and lightning bolts on the way in. And then they come up, they fight a little, and they run away, or they get distracted by the wall. And here's the Pretender's kit. There's a Vine Shield now, Serpent Crest, some cold resist, so layered on the different resistances, and has a Ring of Regen to help with any sort of Foul Vaporous play. I don't need to be going that slow anymore. Sorry. We have some gifts from heaven coming down. I don't think anything hit her. They came close, though. Alright. So, what's the Butcher's Ledger? Pan loses 268, including 23 sages, 3 pans, and 115 sacreds. Raga loses 9 mages and 24 sacreds. So, clearly a very lopsided outcome, showing what a Titan can do. And zoom in on that one. Another thing Raga managed to do was manage to cut off all the lines of retreat. So this Pan army is completely dead. So you might have thought it was only 23 Centaur Sages. It was in fact all 41. And I mean, the 3 pans died in the fight, but instead of 115 sacreds, it was 167. Just a devastating defeat, especially for, what are we, right around like turn 33. Probably not something Pangea can recover from unless Pan gets left alone for a while. So, which I would think might be unlikely in an intermediate lobby, so we'll see. But the Raga player, again coming through with the Wrathful Skies play, has just enough mages and troops to help hold the line while it did its work, and kills another 200 plus stuff from Pan. So, pretty cool fight. That'll probably, I'll probably put something in the title about that. And then we have Calum attacking Jomin in Erytheia, which is just clearing some PD, but lost a lot of stuff doing it. So let's go ahead and see what happened. Oh, clearing the fort. Maybe these Oban are just pretty tough. They've got really good stats for a normal troop, in my opinion. They attack reasonably fast. They encumber fast, though, but they've got 15 attack. Swords. I did a single player as Jomin, and I was pretty impressed by the Oban. So this Moss Body, though, is really going to cause Calum some problems here. Manages to pop it over here on the scout with just 1 soldier. We're fighting right in front of all these, are they longbows? Yeah, fighting right in front of all these longbows, so just taking horrendous attrition. And then the Obans are giving a pretty decent account of themselves, even when routing. They've got 11 attack, so. And then these two still have Moss Body. And the birds are going to insist on poisoning themselves. So they're going to retreat off. The birds retreat. They're tired of this. And we've got just the one Storm General, who's pretty cool. 15 attack on a magic damage weapon. High defense, reasonable protection, full slots. You can do a lot with these guys. They're pretty cool. I think Zan has a number of videos that talk about all the different things you can do with the Storm General because of his Calum campaign. So 47 dead birds, and actually gets defeated by Jomin, so feels bad. And then we get a couple of events. All right. So first off, let's start down in the Jomin Theater. Okay. Oh, I guess let's start with Diplo. So we've been attacked by Flagra. They had their failed Boat Eater raid, but otherwise it's been these 3. Makes sense. Securing gold income with the raids, using thugs and SCs to kind of like do the initial raiding to maybe screen for the main army. So, I don't know, seems pretty well done. Minus the poor Cyclops guy that maybe wasn't quite kitted right to go underwater. And then we've got all the Arco stuff here, where they're vulturing Raga, probably expecting Pan to take Raga's cap. Raga's got a lot of stuff now. They have their Titan. They still have their main troop of Savaran Guard. So I think Raga can give Arco a little bit of a fight. Now, I do think enough magic duels and I think the Pretender dies. So, which is, because I think it was only Astral 4 or something. Yeah, so the way Magic Duel works is different than everything else in the game just about. Instead of using DRN, it uses a single D6. You use your Astral Path unadjusted for, I believe, items or communions or spells or anything. It's just the base, very base level Astral for each mage, and you roll a D6 and you add that to the total, and whoever wins gets to kill the other mage, and if it's a tie, they both die. So it's very high risk play. Astral 4 on a Pretender going against potentially S1, S2, and maybe even S3 Mystics? I know I just played Arco, but I think sometimes they could come out as S3. No, just S2. Okay, so if he brings a lot of S2 Mystics, it's going to be hard for them to win a Magic Duel, but not impossible, and they only need to tie to kill the Pretender, even if it kills themselves. I would happily trade a Mystic for a Wrathful Skies caster. So there could be a lot of Magic Duel in this army that Raga's got to watch out for. And all the crazy shenanigans you can do with War Elephants, all the point buffing that Arco can do, all the army buffing, especially with Heart Companions, and Hoplites and all this stuff. So this is all coming in against Raga, but additionally, Arco ended their nap with me this turn, and Ulm ended their nap with me this turn. So presumably Flagra is going to come in over this region, Arco is going to come in over this region and likely try to get my capital in this fort. And Ulm, they would need like either Ulm or Calum to take everything below this river. I'm not entirely sure what their underwater plan is. I'm sure they can, like, if they reduce me to just underwater, it's going to be really hard for me to hold, even against, like, what, stuff land nations can do. But, yeah, I think I can make it take a while, especially if they don't end up stopping some of these forts. So I've got, like, a couple of water elementals to help out this guy. So we've got 2 months left here, and these are nap tick down, so as long as they don't attack early, unless Flagra gets over here, this fort's going to finish. This fort may not finish, but I've got plans. I've got 3 water elemental casters to protect it. The army's moving up here to potentially break siege with this army as like one big army, and maybe it gets battlefield wiped by like a Heat from Hell or Firestorm thing. Maybe, but I don't know. I've got some stuff in here. I can Magic Duel too. I've pretty cheap land mystics. So these 90 gold guys, they can Magic Duel, especially the Earth randoms. I got a little bit nerdy with some of the scripting late at night last night. So they can fire lots of crossbows at individual hoplites if they want. I've also got 3 segments of stuff. I've got some different mages split out, doing different things. A lot of Soul Slay in this, So if they don't bring a battlefield wipe, their army's going to feel it pretty quick, even if they have tons of crossbows and stuff. This army is also coming up. And this is my current turn, so I can make some changes if I need to. I am inclined to send this guy here. But I would need someone to bring nature gems. Can you make it? Alright. Because I can set up the Foul Vapors play. Twist Fate. Maybe just go straight into it. Where's it? Oh, you need to join the communion. I'd have to give this guy like a Thistle Mace or something. So he can't quite do it. But alright, so maybe I don't need you. Sorry, I really want to have a Foul Vapors caster scripted. This lady can do it. And I might save that for Ulm, because he can't magic duel this lady. And I forget if I'll have to double check if the Ghoul Guardians. I think the Ghoul Guardians aren't going to care because they're undead. Yeah, they won't care. And that's Ulm also is ending their nap with me. But Black Templars probably care. Let me double check the bless really quick. I have a little notepad document with all the blesses I've seen. Decay weapons and blood surge. I see nothing about poison resist. And their mages would care too. That would be really, really sad for their communion if that were to happen. Flagra, on the other hand, I forget if they have easy nature access. So I can do that with this lady. Do you need shoes? Can you get here? Okay, I'm gonna try and send this lady here. And then maybe the cross map movement is difficult. And I don't necessarily want to Foul Vapors this army. So I'm going to send her there. Just do, I don't know, something. Moss Body. Maybe just Personal Region, honestly. And then Foul Vapors. If you get hit by a crossbow, then you get hit by a crossbow. Moss Body, Bark Skin. Something like that. Probably come up with something a little bit better. Alright. Yep, do some sort of Foul Vapors play with this lady. And then this lady can do a Foul Vapors play down here for Ulm. Alright. And let's see. So we've got that set up. Oh man. What I would give for like a Shade Mail Hauberk so I could hide like the capabilities of these two. And then this lady can teleport, but I don't think I've quite figured out what, in terms of battle magic, what I can do with her. I suppose I could do Howl. Solar Eclipse, make them fight in the dark. And then the mages, if it's all mystic based, the mages aren't going to care because Frozen Heart and Soul Slay are 100 precision. So I could just make it dark and draw things out. There's anti-magic. Yeah, there's a decent amount of stuff. We'll have to see. Again, I'm pretty new to intermediate lobbies. I think I've got an okay feel for the noob lobbies now, though. But I'm not sure just how much higher the skill gap gets with the intermediate ones. And then, so we'll try to send that mage over. And we don't have what I would consider enough troops to do a proper Foul Vapors trap. You can't make it, you can make it there. I guess we have troops here. We have this army, we can try and do it, I guess, with that army. So if I'm gonna do it with this army, I don't want to, though. We'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna send her over, though. And let's see. Do I have this lady make a Thistle Mace? Great. Maybe you still make the Shambler skin, and you make a Thistle Mace. Alright, I think that's just enough income to do some of these castings. And then we can use this guy going in here. If he can make it in here, then we'll have a third Foul Vapors trap set. Okay. Yeah, this one might be hard to pull off. This one we can definitely do, especially as this army comes back. And, like, yeah, I can't do anything against the Ghoul Guardians, but I'm also going to have a number of Fire Mages, and maybe they can do stuff about Ghoul Guardians. Because they're Bless... Yeah, no resistances on the Bless. Okay. Whereas the Fire Mages are pretty useless against Flagra, I'm finding out. So, not doing a lot with them against Flagra. Alright, because all their stuff is like 25 fire resist. The troops probably don't, but right now I'm dealing with these guys. So, sorry, kind of diving into the weeds there. So, I've set up a few traps. I can't trap everywhere. I just don't have the mages, and I do want to try and get a little bit more research in. Crawl up to, I guess, Evo 5, which has Gifts from Heaven. Also has Storm, which is good. Poison Cloud. Eh. This coming at the same level as Foul Vapors is kind of weird. I feel like this should be in like 3 or 4. But then maybe it's too strong then. Stellar Cascades, Astral Geyser, Earthquake. I think I was thinking about communioning up to do an Earthquake. Some Earthquake nonsense. So if I'm going to do Earthquake nonsense, I need a Ring of Levitation. Alright. So I'll go ahead and do that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I can pull off two people doing that. Alright, so we'll try and make 2. Okay. Sorry, just trying to get everything together. This turn was pretty complicated because of the way this one was delivered over Discord really early in the turn. So we're counting the current turn as notice, and then next turn and the turn after attack orders and then attacks. Ulm gave me the notice a little bit later in the turn, And I think both of these players felt somewhat bad about it because it is a 3v1 game bang against a sub. But you gotta do what you gotta do in Dominions. I think the war makes a decent amount of sense for both Arco and Ulm. Assuming they can actually kill me and I'm not just forever raiding them from the water, which is something I've done in my relay campaign. I'm perfectly happy to raid continuously forever from the water until you spend a lot of water gems to come finish me off. And then, but the Phlegra thing is really weird to me. I don't know if I accidentally offended them in Diplo, but the Diagonal War seems really weird. If it's just over the Throne of Death, I'd offered to sell it to them for 600 gold. I feel like the Cyclops guy alone was probably worth 600 gold. And like, sure, he's gotten rating income from these three. If he had bought this, he would have had this one's income anyways. So he's made up like 200 of the gold, maybe? Or no, because I can't see the portion he's making. So, well, my Dominion's here. So yeah, maybe it is like 200 gold that he's making. So he's offset some of that, like the cost of the Cyclops, but still 30 gems that he's paid to fight me so far. And maybe the war will get more profitable, but now is a good point to go over the traps we're setting. Alright, so can't set traps everywhere, but here's what we're doing. We've got a Frozen Heart trap with a small number of hoplites here, in case this Cyclops guy comes here. I believe I checked him, and there's no cold resist on him. I checked all the way after their buff scripts as well. I'm a little short on air mages, because they also have to pull double duty for Wind Guide in the main armies. So, and some of them are trapped in forts, stuff like that. But he's got a Shock Malice we could try to take advantage of at some point. But he's also got no cold resist and 63 HP. So definitely a Frozen Heart victim qualifier. Here, we're setting up a small Soul Slay trap. So it's Power of the Spheres, which should do about 50 fatigue, and then they can just Soul Slay as long as the thing lasts. So I'm doing a lot of the Power of the Spheres into the Soul Slay this turn, just to... because I only have so many mages because I was spending all my money on construction. This is me paying for my greed, I guess. So maybe I could have sent 4 mages and done a small communion before. Now I have to spend pearls because I was greedy before. But this guy also had... I say only 18 MR, but I think a small Soul Slay trap has a reasonable chance to kill him, especially with a little bit of PD to help out. We are still being greedy, though. We're going to go ahead and get the Lab and Temple here, and this is because I might not have the gold later. So I want to get this Lab and Temple here, and I can fight from this throne as well. It can be another point of resistance, and I can train mages here. It's a little bit harder for all 3 of these players to get to. It's a little bit more remote. Still going to build these rock walls here. This is a really good province. These provinces are really good. I've got this fort going up here. I can set up a reasonable resistance in these lakes if they let me get these forts up. And especially if somehow I manage to get labs and temples in there, because I need both to get to Dukos. So that's kind of that bit. We've got the army trap moving here. So the plan here is crossbow spam with Wind Guide. If it can survive crossbow spam with Wind Guide here, we're probably screwed. It can probably kill this whole army. But I have a reasonable suspicion that they may not know about this army because it's been underwater. So, because I don't think you get to see the armies next. You just get to see if a fort is cracked. So they might think all my troops are down here, and this is basically free, but I still have at least this army, so we'll see. We've got the water elemental trap we talked about. We're patrolling water elemental trap. we are moving out a couple of traps. So we have this trap here for Enceladus. It is a combo of Frozen Heart and Soul Slay and Paralyze and Petrify. Paralyze, if it works, like a 20 plus turn disable, I realize it's probably the same odds, or it is the same odds as a Soul Slay, and a Soul Slay would just kill him. But a Paralyze is a little less fatigue on a 1 Astral Path guy. And he's already going to be at like 100 fatigue, I think. Yeah, he's only going to be Astral too, so he has to do Paralyze. Okay, so I do have a few Paralyzed people. But Frozen Heart, yeah. The Petrify is what I'm hoping can really do some work, because it's the MR only comes into account when you come out of Petrify. So we get to wail on him for those turns, and we get to hit him with a bunch of Soul Slays during those turns. So that's our trap for Enceladus. If he happens to fly down to the throne to be greedy, we have a Soul Slay trap. As a reminder, Enceladus, this particular incarnation of Enceladus has 18 MR. He does have a lot of resists, this one. So he has a little bit of shock resist. I think that goes away with the buff cycle. Or maybe it doesn't. No, he's not doing Iron Skin. Maybe he will, but base protection 14, maybe he doesn't think it's worth it. But notably, there's no cold resist on this. I have a lot of water magic. What can I say? It's going to be water magic and targeting MR. Flagra stuff doesn't always have the highest MR, so we're going to try and target that. So we've got this trap here, this trap here. We've got this trap and this trap. So we've got 4 traps. Do I know where these 2 Cyclops guys are going to go? No. Maybe they'll come sit on this fort. There was the 2 pieces of the army. I don't know if these guys can 1-turn move here over the plains and into the plains. Maybe. I think most of the mages were here. But either like 1 turn from now or 2 turns from now, they're going to come sit on this fort. Either way, I'm going to be able to intervene with my combined forces. So, unless he has a battlefield wipe planned, like Firestorm, or a big fatigue play, like Heat from Hell, we should get a really fun, exciting battle. So, maybe that should be good. If I get a decisive victory against Flagra, maybe I can post that in the channel and motivate, like, Man or Sitis to do something about that. Maybe it would get them to peace out. And if they don't, maybe, I don't know. I don't know what we do then. Maybe I just keep raiding them or something. We go into a weird Cold War where I guess they just build a new army and send it at me. I think they had another army coming down, so they probably would have a second army. Arco and Ulm seem a little bit more cautious. I think they're happy to let the Naps play out to see what Flagra does. Ulm is interested primarily in this coastline and this throne. The throne would be really good on their knights, and they get Fire 3 access. Probably this fort would be really good. It's a good fort. And it would open up, like, coming into this region. I imagine Calum would notice all this, though, and they would probably seize this. It'd probably turn into a 4-way gangbang. Let's see. And then Arco's doing their Voltring, but Raga might have something to say about that, so maybe Arco will have some second thoughts. I don't know. Or I'm presuming this army here in Amiradon is going to head here next turn. Or it might wait a turn, and then it might come here, because of the way the nap is, and then it'll probably march on my cap. Or it'll come up here with all this stuff, and they'll try and siege down this citadel, because I don't have a lot of troops here. But I do have an army pre-scripted, so I can show that off. It's not a particularly strong army. It's a little bit of a like a Souls-like minion. It's I'm stretched thin, so to speak, trying to defend against Flagra. So I'm not sure how much I can resist against Arco, but we are patrolling a little, so we have a little bit of a soul slay trap. And then we've got this army here. I call it an army, but it's like 30 dudes and some mages, so it's like a medium raid that needs to act like an army against hundreds and hundreds of troops. It's just not going to work. And then I do have this army, which is this like 150 troops-ish? Maybe 170. So we're gonna storm. Go ahead and storm with a small contingent. It's everyone who's diseased, and I guess these two guys, because I forgot to rescript them. So this is the thing, and then we're just going to do some water elemental spam and advance and cast with these two water mages. If we take the fort, great. We have one more place to resist from. If we don't take the fort, who cares? Because this army needs to leave. Because we have like a nap's worth of time to get back to Lish, or potentially Lagoon of Fortune, before Ulm comes. And I'm predicting the Ulmish rating to be pretty severe because of the vampire spam they can do. So not only are they going to have this big main army, but they're going to have a bunch of immortals raiding me as well, probably all over the place. So what I might do is the turn before the nap ends, I might invite, depending on how stuff is going against Flagra, I might invite Calum to Vulture, and maybe they'll bump over a lot of this stuff, and they'll just kill each other. And yeah, because, I mean, that would work out for me. They can fight each other over this land, and I'll sit in my lakes and try and fortify up, and someday prepare to come back onto land. In terms of Flagra, I'm really curious to see what their army does. The thugs and super combatants, I think we can kill. There's a little bit of luck involved there because it's MR checks, but we'll see. But I think I've got a reasonable set of traps. I've got, is it 6 or 7 traps set up. So these guys are hanging back. These are meant for Ulm because these are fire mages. They'll probably do better against, like, ghouls have magic weapons, but it's still, you know, fire elemental can do stuff. Pillars, or not pillars of fire. Different fire spells like sulfur. No, well, you get the idea. Different AoE fire attacks would probably work fairly well against Ulm, unless he's willing to magic duel the whole force, which is possible. It's a very mage-heavy way of doing an attack, though. He'll lose a lot of mages. And I might post the fact that he's lost a lot of his, like, cheap astral mages magic dueling me, and maybe they aren't, available to magic duel someone else. That's definitely in the cards. And yeah, so things are about to really heat up. We've got our war with Joman that's wrapping up. We should have one last fight there. I don't really care what Joman does after that. They could even attack some of this stuff. I wouldn't care. And then we've got our new war with Flagra, and then we have the pending wars with Ulm and Arco. And I've reached out to a number of players and haven't had a lot of luck getting a response back, so this seems like a well-timed coalition. I reached out to Man. Man is busy eating Utgard. We can see this big siege here. But, I don't know. I mean, Utgard's got enough forts, it's going to take Man a little bit. And they might want to turtle after. They might not want to run into Flagra, who would only have one throne at the far end. It's probably not worth it. We also reached out to Satis, And I think they're busy. They might be fighting Patala. I forget exactly what they said. But, I mean, I'll keep them in the loop, and then maybe if Flagra takes a ton of casualties, Sitis wouldn't mind like moving in on Flagra. And then maybe Man can Vulture a little. Like, I could see a coalition against Flagra happening reasonably easily, even with Ulm potentially. Pan just got wiped, so they can't do anything. They don't border any of the powers that be. Bogarus has been fighting a lot. They might not want to intervene. Kalem could intervene. And maybe a little bit closer. Because here's the thing. If the war is going really well against Flagra, and then maybe I can try to put up cause some attrition to Ulm and get them to back off. Because like forever wars against like a big lake like this are a thing. So maybe I could get them to back off if I could win a fight against Ulm. Like I wouldn't want Kalem taking all this. But if things go poorly against Flagra, like if I get firestormed or something else, because I mean Flagra's got good elemental access, they could do any number of things. And they have super combatants. Like there's so many things that could go wrong in this war with Flagra. So if something goes wrong there, then I'll probably invite Kalem to Vulture. And that might get Kalem to fight either Arco or Ulm as well. So that could help me out for maintaining my at least the underwater provinces. And then I'm sure Raga's pissed off by Arco doing this. So I tried reaching out to Raga, but they haven't reached out. They haven't responded yet. So I think that's just about everybody. And if Patala's fighting Sitis, then they're just occupied. I don't think they really border anyone either. They're the power the coalition would contact to backstab the people I brought in to kill the coalition. They're like completely other end of the world. So yeah, that's the big Diplo update. That's the really cool fight here. My condolences to Pan for losing their whole army, but that was a really cool play from Raga, especially a cold Raga. So, and then it was yeah. I think that's it. So yeah, we're mobilizing for Ulm, and we're mobilizing for Flagra, and then I just have nothing left in the tank really to mobilize for Arco. Is most of it. So probably pretty strong chance I lose Pasture of Wisdom, which sucks. It's an amazing province. Pretty good chance I lose my capital as well. But feeling somewhat determined to prevent Flagra from getting much if I can help it. We'll see. Arco's been a lot nicer. Arco and Ulm have been a lot nicer about things. So yeah, sorry, I've been rambling for a while, but yeah, it's a turn that I've definitely been thinking a lot about because there's like so many like different things I need to do, and I need to do them potentially perfectly, and even if I do, it might not matter. So it's definitely a fun situation, but it might lead to a short game, but we'll see. I will see you next turn as things heat up even more in turn 35.